This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
You know that feeling when too many things fall through the cracks? Monday.com was built for that gap. The AI work platform where people and agents work side by side to deliver more together. Create your first Monday agent today at Monday.com.
On today's episode of The Bridge, a transformational health podcast with yours truly, Dr. Elizabeth Rogers, it is my sincere pleasure and honor to reintroduce to you the amazing Elizabeth Resnick. Elizabeth is back for her second episode with me to talk to us today about embracing your body and redefining body confidence. Elizabeth is going to offer us an entirely new perspective and frame shift on body confidence that I had never even considered or heard of before today. Elizabeth will explain that there is more than one type of body confidence, and she'll define for us what the different types of body confidence are, what real, genuine confidence looks and feels like, and how exactly we can each embody that. And one of my favorite takeaways, Elizabeth will share a 2-minute simple exercise that we can all start doing today to help us align with real, genuine, and sincere confidence. I am so excited for all of you to listen to this episode. And for those of you who are not familiar with Elizabeth and are meeting her for the first time today, then first of all, I strongly recommend that you go back to the very beginning of this podcast and listen to all of the episodes, including Elizabeth's first episode from the very beginning. But to reintroduce you to her formally, Elizabeth is a 56-year-old double certified health coach and author who loves teaching women of all ages to love their bodies and their lives. Elizabeth's brand, Happy, Healthy, and Hot, is a unique combination of mindset, nutrition, and fitness that works. Elizabeth's clients achieve much more than weight loss. They report increased confidence, better energy, and an overall vitality that they never anticipated. Elizabeth coaches clients all over the world. She's been featured on TV, numerous podcasts. In 2020, she was a finalist in the Maxim CoverGirl competition in her 50s. And I'm honored to call her my colleague and friend. You can find her information in the show notes for today's episode, and I'm really excited to learn what your favorite takeaways are. So let's dive in. Welcome to The Bridge, the show that bridges the gap between Eastern and Western medicine, science and spirituality, physical and energetic health. If you're a leader seeking to heal from within, ultimately achieving the pinnacle of health and well-being for your mind, body, and spirit, then rest assured, this show is tailored just for you. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Rogers, the Sherlock Holmes of health. I'm a trailblazing Harvard-trained epidemiologist turned transformational health coach. Basically, I find the clues that every other healthcare practitioner missed because they were looking in the wrong place. I am so incredibly happy to have my dear friend and colleague, Elizabeth Resnick, back here with me today.
And I am so happy to be here, and I'm glad we had a couple minutes to catch up.
Me too. Oh my gosh. We definitely needed to get out some of our enthusiasm because we get very excited to be together. We're so happy. I'm so happy that you're here with me. You know, when we wrapped up our last episode, the topic of body confidence had come up. And I know that during our initial episode that we recorded together, we both felt strongly that that would be a really valuable topic to speak to our listeners about. I know we have a lot of women who listen to the show, and I think body confidence, I don't know about you, my friends, but I think that body confidence has been a really prevalent topic, much more in the health, well-being, and wellness world and industries over these past 5 to 10 years, I think, than ever before, especially around the conversation of women's bodies.
Yeah.
And I know that you have a really unique spin on that. So I'd love for you to just kick us off with this topic of body confidence and
Absolutely.
why you feel this is such an important key to whole health and longevity for us.
It's something that I'm really passionate about. I believe there are two types of body confidence. I believe there's a whole conversation about body confidence that people aren't having. And many women have one or the other. Before we stop recording today, I am going to give a very simple, literally 2-minute challenge that anyone listening can implement tomorrow, like the next morning, that will shift their body confidence. There are the things that you can do that will cause an immediate shift. And then others, obviously, that are going to take a little longer to sink in, but are really going to make a difference. So there's two types of body confidence, in my opinion. There is confidence in how your body looks, which is what most of us think of. And then there's another part of this, which is confidence in what your body can do. So when you have, and I've seen women that are, for example, I consider myself pretty fortunate that for a lot of my life, not every single moment of every day, but I've been fairly confident in how my body looks. And I've always prioritized health and fitness, not always the mental, emotional side, but at least was taking care of myself physically in a way that I was pretty comfortable with how my body looked. Even though I was in good shape, I had very little confidence of what my body could do. And that goes back to childhood stories. And I was ridiculed in gym class. I was the shortest one. I was the last person picked for every single team. When I was in, I believe it was first grade, I went into gym class, now they call it PE. And the teacher, Mr. Bonder, wheeled out, we were doing basketball. Yeah. The teacher wheeled out a ladder. And all the kids were saying, Mr. Bonder, Mr. Bonder. It was like this big ladder on wheels. I don't even remember the huge ladder. I'm like, Mr. Bonder, why do we have a ladder? What's the ladder for? And he said, so Elizabeth can make a basket. And everybody burst out laughing. Oh. And I laughed right along with them. I was crying inside. I've never been so humiliated. And again, I don't even fault Mr. Bonder, who I don't think is alive anymore, and who everybody loved this man, and he was just trying to make a joke, and he saw me laughing. Yeah. But I already was so embarrassed at never being picked for a team, and literally nobody wanted Elizabeth. And I grew up with this story of not being good at sports. Yeah. And that was such a big part of being social and being popular. So to me, the popular girls, they all played, by the time I was in middle school and high school, they were really good at field hockey and lacrosse and all these things. And I wasn't. And I tried some other stuff. I did track a little bit, and that gave me some confidence. At least I could see it. But I was cut. I tried out for cheerleading. I was cut, which I just laugh about now. But
me too. Yeah, isn't that funny that they cut us both, and we were probably the most enthusiastic girls that tried out.
Of course, we were both the two most enthusiastic people, and we're cut from the cheerleading team. Yeah, but. So as a result of these childhood experiences, which, now we can laugh about, but it was really,
let's face it, they're traumatizing, because I could still to this day, the way you're sharing your gym class story, I could still share word for word my story about when I didn't make the cheerleading team in junior high and the emotional pain and trauma that I went through for weeks after that. And it's damaging as kids, because we just, whatever team we want to be a part of, whatever group, we aspire to be accepted by, our world when we're kids revolves around that.
It really does.
It matters, and it hurts whenever we don't get picked.
It does. So I carried this story that I wasn't good at. I wasn't athletic. Yeah. And so therefore, to me, there was just nothing to be proud of about what my body could do. In college, I got more into fitness, and I was working out and everything. And that was all great. But those stories just carried with me. Yep. I believe now, it wasn't until my 40s that I turned that story around. But what I see now is that, yes, it's great to have confidence in how your body looks. And we talked about this a little bit in the Facebook group too. It's like, it feels good. We deserve to feel good about how we look. It's great to love what you see in the mirror.
Yes.
And that is amazing. And we can have both types of body confidence in how our body looks and confidence in what it can do. And when we have both of those, we develop this core confidence in ourselves that people feel. It's this energy that we bring into the room, this confidence in ourselves. It spills over into every single thing that we do. It's how we walk into the room. It's how we show up, that we can show up for this podcast and just have the best conversation and feel so comfortable with who we are. It shows up in business, in our personal relationships and everything else. So that's why I really believe body confidence, there's nothing shallow about having body confidence. I believe every woman deserves this. But it's when you can combine the two, it's when it really sinks in. And I have seen women, I've known women, two women that I was acquainted with, I'm really not in touch anymore, personal trainers, beautiful women with strong, fit bodies who I can tell you had no body confidence. They were both so hard on themselves, so critical of themselves. I'm saying these two beautiful women that I knew and that had all these things going for them. And anybody looking on the outside, so they think this woman is like the poster child for body confidence. And I can tell you, they were so hard on themselves that I don't believe there was any body confidence there.
I've never heard anyone talk about body confidence like this and break it down in this way. So first of all, thank you. I think this is a really important conversation because, like you said, it's not just about one aspect of confidence. It's different to feel good about our bodies and how we feel in our bodies than it is to feel good about what we're capable of.
Yeah.
I love that because to me, it also parallels to our health and well-being very well, where you and I have already talked about this on our first episode together. There's not just physical health and well-being. And if you're simply focusing on one aspect or one part of your health, for example, just your physical health or just your emotional health or just your spiritual health, and what you want to do is feel your best and feel whole, healthy, and aligned, then following in an approach where you're just focusing on one part of that falls short. To me, I feel like you're revealing like a missing link almost for why maybe so many of us don't feel fully confident. I've heard people who are self-love and confidence coaches make it look and seem so easy. You just have to be confident, right? Just be it. Just be confident, Elizabeth. Just be confident. Just keep being confident. And that sounds really great. But like you're describing, there's different components of confidence
so many different levels,
might be impacting each of us in different ways because of our lived experiences. So I think it's really important to think about this. And I love that you shared that the lack of complete, whole body confidence is really associated in your observation with people being hard on themselves. I'd love to hear you talk to us about more, because I think that this has been a theme over the past week in just conversations I've had with clients, with colleagues, with friends, and just in general, that we are our own toughest critics.
We are.
And we judge ourselves harder than we judge anything or anyone else in the world. But that's not necessarily being able to be hard on yourself. That should not be something we wear like a badge of honor, that we can pick on ourselves and make fun of ourselves and make comments at ourselves and jest and and shrug it off, and it doesn't quote unquote seem to impact us. But the truth is, when we're doing that, it does have an impact because we are energy. And when we are thinking and speaking negative thoughts, most especially about ourselves, they are impacting our health, our ability to heal, our ability to be whole, aligned, and well at a literal cellular and molecular level. So this stuff matters.
Okay, so I'll share a little shift that everybody could do today, just as far as like a should versus a could.
I love
I'd also
this.
love to share a story about how I finally started developing that confidence in what my body could do. How
I would love
a real
that.
mindset shift, but it's also doing some physical stuff. But again, where I was really having fun with and challenging myself and just having a good time rather than trying to reach a certain standard. Talking about being hard on ourselves, and this has come up for me as well too. So I think this is clearly a conversation that needs to be had. But when it comes to fitness and health in our bodies, sometimes we're saying we should. I really should get to the gym.
Often.
I really should like prep some food so I have healthy stuff. And we make it into this chore. And just this simple shift of should, which is very heavy, kind of laden with guilt and obligation. Okay, I could go to the gym, or I could go out for a walk today and look for some fun stuff to do, because maybe the gym doesn't sound great today, but it's gorgeous out, and I could go for a walk and soak up some sun and look for some fun stuff to do and challenge myself. And maybe I'll look for a hill to climb, or, I could. So could is possibility. Could is excitement. Could is potential. Could is like, I don't have to do this, but I get to do this.
Yes.
So just that simple shift, when it comes to putting healthy food in our bodies, which obviously has a lot to do with how our bodies are operating.
Yeah.
Instead of, I really should plan some meals for this week. Like, what about, I could make a fun day. I could run in and just at least grab some fresh produce and have some fresh veggies chopped up. And that feels really good when I look at my fridge, and it's going to be nice to know that I have some stuff that I can grab. And at least that's a start. Like, I don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
I don't have to spend hours in the kitchen. So it's, what could I do right now? What could I do in the moment to shift the way this feels? So that's huge. That's just not being so hard on ourselves. But as far as this second type of body confidence, this confidence in what our body can do, I'm just going to tell my own story, because, here I was, this girl was made fun of in gym class and tried doing the things. I definitely got interested in health and fitness, but I still felt like that 6-year-old in gym class. Like, that never went away from me. And even in joking around, my husband at the time would kind of make fun of my athleticism, because he was naturally, still is, like super athletic. And it was a joke, but again, it was, none of this was done to be mean, but it was again, perpetuating this, I'm not good at anything. I'm not good at stuff. So I guess I was in my mid 40s. My daughter, who's now a beautiful young adult, was in middle school, and she's naturally athletic. And she kept saying she wanted to do this indoor rock climbing thing. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, okay. So I finally set aside a day where I could take her and a friend. And it turns out that I had to learn how to belay them. I was like, wait, what? Like, I have to get involved here and do something? So long story short, yes, I learned how to belay them, later became certified to belay. My daughter just took to rock climbing like it was the most natural thing in the world, to the point that we had an annual membership for years, and it became our thing. And eventually she was old enough to belay me, and I started rock climbing. So this whole thing was just this fun. I was doing it for my daughter, but it ended up being a fun bonding activity. We had music we listened to on the way there that was just fun. Like, we had like our rock climbing soundtrack, and we'd go, and it was just fun. And she would encourage me, no, Mom, like, you can do this. Like, reach with your right arm. She was almost like coaching me. You've got this. And so I was just having fun. I wasn't trying to prove anything. I wasn't trying to get stronger, to lift a certain weight. But this was all about a fun thing that I was doing with my daughter what I didn't realize is all this confidence. I was seeing that I actually was really good at this. Will never be the best basketball player. I have really good balance, and I have apparently a good strength to weight ratio. I didn't know what that was until I started hearing the rock climbing dudes talking about it. They're like, you guys both have a really good, like, these dudes are saying, wow, look at these girls go. I'm just having a good time developing this strength and this confidence. And later I became the mom that she did this outdoor adventure camp, and I was the mom that got up and did the tightrope when no other parent, like on the parent visiting day. And I got up
Amazing.
I had the confidence to do that because I was already used to wearing a harness for rock climbing and all these other things. My balance is good. I was like, sure, I'll try it. And I didn't care if I looked silly. It didn't matter to me anymore because I just given up all of that. I'd slipped, I had fallen, I had done all the things. I stopped caring about how this looked. And it was all about how it felt. In the meantime, did my body start looking better? Absolutely. The muscles you develop doing that, the secondary muscles and the strength, the all over body strength is phenomenal. But that wasn't why I was doing it. I was just having a good time. And this developed my confidence. I was like, wow, I actually am really good at things. I can do some of this stuff. And then from there, got more into hiking. And now that's a thing that I love to do, like crazy hikes where, we're challenging each other and like, can you got to pull me, like where we're off trail and lost and like, how did we even get here? But it's fun and there's amazing views. So it's this whole idea that confidence, I just unknowingly built this confidence in what my body can do, but you can actually develop that really quickly if you just have the awareness and you start looking for what your body can do and what it's good at. And we all have these things, and we all have areas where we're a little stronger, or we have this good balance, or we have this stamina. We're not the fastest or the strongest, but we can keep going. And when you develop that, so one move, like one specific thing that I've found really helps women with their body confidence is finding one simple move that they can do. And for a lot of women, it's a plank, holding a plank, because this is such a great, you don't need any equipment.
Right.
It's using your own body weight. It is a full body move. Like it is working every muscle in your body. And holding a plank every day, time yourself using the stopwatch on your phone. I don't care if you hold it for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Keep working at this and you are going to see yourself getting stronger. You can see a difference in a week. And you start carrying yourself differently. It's like, wow, I am strong. And then over time, yes, this is also going to affect how your body looks, because boy, does that give you core strength. And it really does affect your posture and gives you this naturally like stronger, more confident posture. And you start to build up your shoulders, which makes a difference in the way your clothes look on you.
Yeah.
And our waists looks a little smaller when we build up just a little bit in our shoulders and just get that little bit of rounding. All of this can come from just the simple act of holding a plank. It can boost your confidence in how your body looks and in what it can do. You don't have to go rock climbing. You don't have to walk a tightrope. You don't have to go on crazy hikes. You can literally in your bedroom hold a plank. And I encourage women to do it in the morning before they hop in the shower, simply because otherwise the day gets ahead of you and you're in bed. You say, I never did that plank. Set an alarm in your phone, a simple reminder, literally less than a minute a day, and you can boost your body confidence.
I love this. And I love that you are aligning body confidence with what I will always believe and remind our listeners is one of the most important keys to whole health and longevity, which is simplicity.
Yes.
You're not saying we need you to go buy these weights, get this piece of equipment, make sure you get a workout band, because if you don't have those things, you just
But if you don't take this supplement, none of this is going to work.
Exactly. You can literally do nothing but use your own body. and
Yes.
pick something, because no matter what limitations your body came with, like you're saying, our bodies all came with different sets of limitations. Some of
Absolutely.
us can't, some of us do not have legs that we can get up and walk around the block with. Some
Yeah.
of us have limbs that are not fully functioning. Right? We all have different levels
Absolutely.
of accessibility and functionality with our bodies. And I love what you're saying is that it doesn't matter what your limitations are, what your body's like,
Yeah.
you can do something. No matter what
Absolutely.
kind of body you were born with, you can do something.
There is
And
something.
pick that one thing. Just
Pick that one thing, right? And so, I use the plank because it's kind of a universal body weight move. But for somebody
Yeah.
who say compromised shoulder, whatever, if they can't do that,
Right. Or
I
maybe somebody that's chair bound or wheelchair bound might pick
Right.
something different.
pick something different.
Yeah.
So, right, if you can't, but it's that whole idea of find one thing that you can do,
Yeah.
because there is that one thing, and get really good at that. Just keep getting better. And that act of getting better. And then the other thing, and I love to say this, consistency creates confidence.
Yes.
But it doesn't, we can't always be consistent with
No.
the big things, with a big hour-long gym workout or whatever. But we can be consistent with something small that takes a minute. But when we are consistent with that, that does create confidence. Again, it's building that body confidence. It creates confidence in ourselves, in the fact that, yes, we can show up for ourselves the way we're showing up for everybody else.
There's a few things that you've brought up that I really want to talk a little more about with you.
Sure.
We all have stories about things that happened to us when we were just little kids that are still impacting who and how we are being today. And that is still impacting whether we feel ultimately whole, healthy, and aligned or not. You and I both shared some of those stories today. And I know everybody listening has a story. And hey, maybe you were one of the kids who was one of the chosen few, who was really cool and had got to be picked first. And we all know, we can all think of who those kids were in our schools and classes, right?
Oh, yeah.
We still probably remember their names. I still remember their names.
I sure do.
We all remember who the quarterback of the football team was and who the captain of the cheerleading team was and all of that stuff. But what I think it's really important is to bring this up to the surface, because I want to say that in my career, I'm an expert at root causes and helping people identify the biggest reasons why they're not feeling whole, healthy, and aligned.
Yes.
And people come and think I'm going to tell them, oh, it's definitely, we have these toxins and pathogens. We've got a sluggish liver. Your adrenals are definitely burned out because you've got way too much nervous system dysregulation. Here's all the things we're going to do. And we do those things. But
Sure.
I will tell you, my friend, that over my career, I have found, and this has held true with myself too, that the biggest root causes holding people back from feeling how they want to feel in their bodies, in their hearts, in their minds, and their souls is because of stuff like this, is because of the stories that we have all been carrying around in that little 6-year-old inside of us who still doesn't feel like he, she, or they are good enough.
Good enough, right? It's a self-worth. I mean, I see this every woman that I've worked with.
We all have that little girl, that little boy inside of us.
They're like, Elizabeth, just tell me what to eat. And we can talk about what they're eating, of course. And how they're,
but why aren't they able to be consistent with those healthy eating habits, right? Typically then is where we start to dig into some of those bigger
somewhere
stories.
There is a self-worth story. Something that is keeping them small. And it can be literally, sometimes they'll remember like one comment, and it's not even like I'm digging for this stuff. It just ends up coming out.
It just does.
And it's the sister that made the comment kind of about, well, who are you to, it's a lot of this, like, who am I?
Who am I to be?
Want to have these things or feel these things? Who am I to deserve this? That's really what it comes down to. And I just see that over and over, but it's different stories, but that is the vibe, is I don't deserve this. I'm not good enough. Who am I to shine? But you know what?
This is the way it is. Everyone in my family, this is just how it is. We have these kinds of genes in our family. So, this is just how we are.
all the women in our family
are like this.
Wait after they turn in this area of their body, after they turn 35 or whatever, it'll be the specific,
and we just adopt the stories that we've been given and assume, and you know what we do then is we allow those stories to create our realities. And so many of us, and I wanted to highlight this that you brought up, because like we're getting at, a lot of what's keeping us all standing still in whatever way we feel or perceive that we are, it's because of something in us. It's nobody's fault. Maybe something that happened to you involved another person, but the truth is exactly. We are each individually responsible for our own responses, our own reactions, our own emotions, our own trauma, and all of the ways that we have chosen to react and respond over our lives. And I want to share this because I think it's important for you and I to bring it to the surface, because there are going to be over the years, many, many, many people who listen to this who are still in the place where they are allowing some of these stories to hold them back. And I'd like to get your thoughts on this, Elizabeth, that to me, what's I think coming up in this conversation, and specifically related to this topic of stories that go way back to our childhood, even holding us back, is it seems to me like these stories could actually then become barriers to us even recognizing and gaining that awareness of the things our bodies can do for us.
Yeah.
Because we adopt a certain story, we decide, well, I never got picked. Well, I was never good enough. Well, I was never good at that. Well, I was never an athlete. Well, I'm just not a gifted athlete. I'm just not as good at I have a brother who's an extremely gifted athlete. That kid's the natural, could walk onto any sports field, any place, with never having any training or knowledge and be faster, better than everybody else. It's just a natural born gift. Yeah. But we tend to do that. Well, I'm just, my brother was the athletic one in the family.
Oh yeah. There's these labels.
I just can't, I'm not, I just don't do that. My body just doesn't work like that. Well, I just don't think my body moves like that. I don't think my body can do that. And we just make these assumptions rather than even allowing ourselves to connect to that type of body confidence where we can become confident in the things our body can do and what they can do. I think that some of these stories are actually creating a barrier and a block to us even discovering what our bodies can do.
Right. 100%. And that's why I wanted to talk about this and share that I feel that this is kind of the missing link to body confidence. We get to have both types. We get to feel good about how our bodies look.
Yeah.
And we can even shift that in a day. Subtle shifts. It's the way you're standing. It's sometimes wearing the shoes or whatever makes you feel good and happy and makes you smile. Whatever feels good to you. It's taking a moment to wear, to make sure you're wearing things that make you happy and that you feel good. And even if nobody else is seeing you.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, I used to talk about being quarantine cute, but just like, look, I know you think,
but I get the point you're making. The point is that even if you're just working from home behind your computer screen and you're not meeting with anybody, I know because this resonates because I do this, and I can certainly, I don't mind sharing with all of our listeners that I did not used to be this way. Okay. Back when the pandemic first started, and something I'm an expert at. So I was well aware all along of the truth of what was going on, but I still was being negatively impacted. Yeah. And that first year, I had moved my practice from being an in-person practice to online out of force and not necessarily out of choice. In that whole first year, I worked, we used to all joke, right? It was like a big joke on social media, like our work from home outfits, right? That everyone was like sitting at home in their pajamas, or we'd have like a nice top, but we'd be wearing pajama bottoms or sweatpants.
Right.
And I did that for a year. And then I actually worked with a dear friend of mine who's also a stylist who will be a guest on this show at some point. And she and I are going to talk about how fashion, clothes, style, what the hell that has to do with your health and well-being, because it does. But like you're getting at, thanks to her, I really went through this very big transformation in the way I perceived that type of more, what I used to think was more superficial, right? More superficial part of health and well-being was clothing, but I don't feel that way anymore. And now even on days that I am not talking to anybody, I will still put on something that makes me feel confident and good, because even though no one can see me and I'm just sitting behind my computer screen, I feel different. I feel more confidence. I feel better. I don't feel like I want to go crawl back into bed.
Yes, yes. There's an energy of what we're putting into on our bodies. First of all, we're seeing us. So we look in the mirror. And then, for me, it's like, even when I'm at home and wearing super casual stuff, it's just become this thing for me. I think it's really important too, living, I've lived alone for a long time, and that I feel good. It's not a matter about who's going to see me. It's a matter about it's the matter of I see me.
And to me, that I feel like you're bringing up this element of body confidence that I'd love for you to talk about with us a little more as you're continuing. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, Elizabeth.
No, go ahead.
But I feel like what you're getting at is that confidence, it's not something that we are being for other people. We should not be putting on a certain outfit or cheering ourselves on or loving ourselves because it's some sort of demonstration we're putting on so that the world perceives us as being confident, or so that we can be in front of the Zoom screen or go walk into a public speech or something else like that, so that everyone sees us as confident. I feel like, to me, one of the things you're really talking to us about on this episode is real confidence. And I think you're teaching me and all of our listeners, I hope, that they're picking up on this too, that confidence is not something that we should be doing for others. It's about us.
It's who we're being.
I'd love for you to talk to us about those two things. First, how do we make confidence and allow it to be about us and not about somebody else? And something else that you hit on a little bit ago that I wrote down and I wanted to come back to is, I think something else that you're getting at is that confidence doesn't need to be attached to the way that we look on the outside. It's about a feeling. It's not about a look. It's about a feeling. So could you talk to us a little bit more about that?
Ultimately, everything is up to us. Like, we are never going to control how the world perceives us.
Exactly. And people are meaning-making machines. So let me say this out loud because everyone needs to hear it. Just like Elizabeth and I have already talked about, that we are our own harshest critics and judges. Let's be real. We all judge. It's how people and human beings make meaning out of the world, how we create interpretations of the world and situations around us. So it doesn't mean you're mean and nasty. Yeah. However, I think it's important for us to just acknowledge that we all judge. Guess what? Everyone is judging. And guess what? You're right. Everyone is judging you and everyone's judging me.
Right. So it's like, right.
They're going to judge you no matter what choices you make. So let's just put that
right
out
I love that. And I really try, because I do catch myself saying, judging and saying, oh, wait a second. No.
Let's be aware, right? Let's bring some
awareness
to our own judging.
That awareness in myself and call myself out on it. But so since at the end of the day, we have zero control over what, the only thing we have control over is ourselves and the way we respond to things. So this, at the end of the day, really is about us. And we get to feel confident in our bodies for us because it feels good, not to put on any kind of a show for anybody else.
Like real,
but when
genuine
we have that, people will feel that energy. And some people are going to be super attracted to it. It's really going to lift some people up.
Yeah.
But again, at the end of the day, that's not our job either.
No.
It's not our job.
No.
We are putting ourselves out there and shining this light, which I believe can shine brighter and brighter when we do feel good in our bodies. It is going to lift some people up, and some other people might not be ready for it. And again, it doesn't mean we need to tone ourselves.
Dim your light. Exactly.
Or explain or justify ourselves to them.
Yep.
We just are. So there's that, how to make it about us. It just
is.
It's just about us. And again, I know I've said this quote, me and my quotes, but
I love your quotes. I love
1910,
it.
the best thing you can do for the whole world is to make the most of yourself. So fill yourself up, take care of yourself, get strong and confident in your body because it feels good to you. But ultimately, this is going to lift others up when they see us thriving. That is a gift we're giving the world.
100%. And I just wholeheartedly love this conversation and feel so good about everything you're sharing. Something else you just brought to my mind as you were speaking, Elizabeth, is this concept of these two different types of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there are a lot of people, I'd love to know your perspective too. But I can share just from my general observation and perspective over the course of my career. I'd say I observe more people who have that type of confidence in how they look, but not as much in what they can do. And I meet a lot of women, especially, who are confident in how their bodies look and things like that. But I know because we've had private conversations about that. Well, I've had people come to me and say, well, I feel really good. I'm confident in my body. And these might be people even that recognize that they'd like to make their bodies and get their bodies even healthier than they already are. Right. Mm-hmm. And so in that same conversation, I've had someone tell me, who I know to be a confident woman, to say things to me like, well, I'm really confident, but I haven't been doing this type of movement regularly. And so I'm not confident that I can do X, Y, and Z with my body, or that I can take that 30-minute walk because there's some steep inclines. And so I see this, I didn't recognize it until you explained it to all of us, that now I can reflect and realize, oh, I see the difference. I've definitely seen people who have that confidence in what their body and how their body looks, but not in what it can do. So to the people listening, anyone who comes maybe to an awareness as they're listening to this episode, that they have that confidence in how they look, but not in what they can do. What advice would you give? And first of all, I'd love to know too, just have you observed that?
I have observed, yes, I've observed the exact same thing. And that confidence in how your body looks. First of all, again, I'm all for it. I want to feel great.
It's important. Yeah.
It's very important. But it can also be so fleeting because it can be, and again, for some women, it gets very tied to a number on the scale or, a specific whatever. And so to get to that confidence in what your body can do, I would just look at picking, again, because we're all about simplicity, picking one thing and working on that one thing. So again, I throw out the plank because it's literally a minute, but maybe it's just working on getting out and moving your body every day with that walk and committing to saying, I'm going to do this every day. I'm going to get out for a walk and gradually I'm going to start challenging. And it might be 5 minutes, but I'm going to get out there and do it every day. And gradually I'm going to start challenging myself. And because as you see yourself improving, even in one area, even that plank getting longer every day, or being able to walk up an incline it's not as hard for you as it was 2 weeks ago. That builds our confidence. And getting back to what you said about the feeling, I believe how we feel, that's the whole secret. That's what this is all about.
It is.
And that's something that I really work on. Again, women always come to me to lose weight. And again, I'm a weight loss coach, but it's like, well, I want to feel more energy and I want to lose 10 pounds, or I really want to deal with the sugar cravings or just learn to eat better, whatever. And I have this much weight to lose. Okay, which is great. This is a wonderful, beautiful starting point. But I start asking about, what is this going to feel like? How is it going to feel when you lose that 10 pounds? What does that feel like? What does it feel like when you get out of bed in the morning, feeling like lighter, brighter, and tighter is a phrase I like to use.
I love that.
That's strength, and just you wake up and you feel energized and you're excited. Yes. And so when you start to tap into that feeling, then it gets into, how can I bring that feeling into my life right now? And this is really, and then we're getting that embodiment of being that person now, because that woman does eat a little differently. She's making some different choices. And that woman is putting her foot, making some choices about putting her devices down when she gets, before she goes to bed, so she can get into a deeper sleep. And that woman is getting out for that midday walk, even if it's just a couple minutes, to get some sun in her eyes and on her body. So it's all these benefits, but it's tapping into that feeling. And I really love to get into the feeling of what does it feel like first thing in the morning? Because that's something we can all relate. Like, how do you want to feel when you get out of bed in the morning?
Yes.
So many people are waking up every morning just like, ugh.
Yeah, exhausted, brain fog, tired,
and already
fatigued.
Stressed about what they have going on. And it's like, what if, that's also a
what
story.
What if we didn't do that?
What if we didn't do that? So tapping into this feeling of what does it feel like to wake up feeling good in your body. And then you start kind of working backwards. Well, what does this woman do? Because I want to be this woman.
I think it's so important that especially those of us who identify ourselves as rising and established leaders like you and I think this is so, so important. Because I know you know that I feel this way, but I feel very strongly that we're moving into a time where those of us who do lead and serve, especially those of us who lead and serve people related to their health and well-being, like Elizabeth and I do, I feel that we're moving into a time and an era in the world, in history, when it's going to be more important now, more than it ever has before, that we lead from a place where we're in alignment.
100%. Yes.
I can feel, and I love how when you were talking about confidence, how you were saying that you can feel that about somebody else. And I feel, Elizabeth, that first of all, if you are listening and you're a leader and you just simply recognize that there's a component of this confidence that's missing for you, or that's just not yet in total alignment, then, I feel like Elizabeth and I would like to challenge you to just dive deeper into that, discover that more. What does that mean for you? And what's the story behind that? Because my guess is, to anybody listening, especially who, if you're missing one element or feeling like you don't have either of these elements of confidence in your body, that you're lacking being fully confident in how your body looks, and you're lacking feeling confident fully in what your body can do, then my guess is, and my intuition tells me I'm right, that there's some story that you picked up somewhere along the way. And maybe it was when you were in kindergarten, maybe it was when you were just a little kid, and it's something you haven't even thought of for years or decades, because we have a tendency to do that as grownups, right? We shove the little inner child off to the side and act like, oh, that's nothing. That's a big deal. We should just suck it up. And those things should not impact our health and lives anymore, but they certainly do. So I want to challenge all of you. If you recognize that you're missing one element or more of body confidence and confidence in general, then see if you can take a look back and find the story that you tell yourself that's connected to what your body can and can't do. Because for all of us, my guess is it's connected to something that we were told along the way that isn't true, that was just a lie. But that's what we do. We adopt stories as our own.
Yes. And we can tell a new story.
Yeah.
And, for example, the story that I told myself, and it was told to me for sure, of not being athletic, not being fit, not being good at anything.
Yeah.
I told myself a different story of, wow, I'm really a really good balance, and I'm getting really good at this rock climbing thing.
Yes.
And again, I didn't really sit with it. It was more of something that happened, and it took a long time. But when you can take the time to sit with this and think about it, you can identify it and really shift. And so I want to share a challenge, or just a little something that women could do that they can literally, if you're listening right now, you can start this tomorrow morning, because I really recommend doing this in the morning. Yeah. It takes 2 minutes. And doing this 2-minute exercise will change both types of body confidence for you. The confidence in how you look and what your body can do. So the first thing is, when you get out of bed in the morning, to you're usually making your way into the bathroom.
Yeah.
To I actually usually will do this as I'm ready, kind of getting ready for the day, maybe after I've gotten out of the shower, smiling at yourself in the mirror and saying, and I will tape an affirmation to my bathroom mirror. Related in this case, when you're shifting your body confidence, something related to feeling good about your body. And again, we know that affirmations, for them to work, it has to feel good to us.
Yes.
So one that I use daily, because feels good to me, is I am in the best shape of my life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, because that is what I desire. I want to be balanced in all these areas. I could be in amazing shape physically, but if I don't have the other stuff, who cares? So I want all of the things. So that's one that works for me. For somebody else, it might be, I am getting stronger every day. Or even picking out that one thing that you love about yourself, like, wow, I've got sexy shoulders, whatever it is.
Yes.
But finding this thing that you can look at yourself in the mirror with a smile on your face and say. So I do really encourage people, put it on a sticky note or on a cute card, tape it to your bathroom mirror so you see it, so it's in your face, or program it as an alarm in your phone that goes off in the morning so you can't miss it. Let's say it out loud, because that just, you're using your voice. If you're looking at it visually and saying it out loud and smiling, we're just really anchoring this in. And then the second one is to do that one thing. And I'm going to use the example of the plank.
Yeah.
To pick one thing that you can do physically that takes like a minute and do that every day. So doing these two things together, holding that plank and saying that affirmation, are going to shift things for you. You are going to feel stronger by the end of the week. You are going to feel stronger in your core. I have a client and she's been working. She is working. I am so proud of her, working on all of the things. And she's amazing, but she's saying, wow, I'm feeling it. I am feeling stronger in my core. And this feels good. This is exciting. And then you start to carry yourself differently and you're looking at yourself differently. And you really can shift your body confidence. It is an instant. This is an instant. And by the end of a week, when you start doing this, and it's just part of what you do, again, this is now where that consistency is creating even more confidence for you. And then this just spills over into the rest of your life.
I love this so much that I'm actually going to share it with our private Facebook group, which you are also part of later.
Yes.
Elizabeth, I'd love to ask you one final question today, because I feel like I won't do this episode justice if I don't ask it. And it's because we've talked today about things that happened to us when we're kids.
Yeah.
And you're a mom, and there are lots of parents listening who would love to protect all of our children from becoming grown-ups like us, who are sitting in these podcast episodes telling these stories about how they got picked last and now here they are, and all the things they've had to do to overcome those stories. But I don't think it's really the healthiest thing in the world, the way that we create these images for kids in school of, here's what you should be like. Being athletic in this way is good. Being, we had to pull the ladder out in gym class because Elizabeth's too small, and let's all laugh because she is shorter than everyone else. So we move through, and I think for especially those of us who went to public school like me, we go through sometimes really harsh environments where parents aren't there to save us. And so we're thrown into school and we're at the whim of what the teachers say and do and how the other kids talk and all the messages we're given, all the stories we're told. I'm sure there are lots of kids who have somebody make fun of them and they don't even tell their parents. And so, and then they carry that story for 20 more years until it finally resurfaces in some sort of mental or emotional or physical symptom that they finally have to deal with. What advice? I don't know if you have any words of wisdom or advice you could share with us as parents, just as health conscious adults who would like to continue to create a better and more health conscious world where people and our children have the ability to maybe grow up in a way we didn't, where we're not necessarily bombarded with those messages of not being good enough or feeling like there was some physical standard that our bodies were meant to align with. Do you have anything you could share? Any words of wisdom?
I guess the first thing that I would add, watch how we're talking to ourselves. I mean, if our kids, if our sons and daughters see us being hard on ourselves, saying, oh my gosh, I've got to stop eating.
Calling ourselves fat, calling ourselves,
to whip myself into shape. Boy, I'm really being bad. So to just cut that language out. I mean, that is, again, we are leading by example, and we don't always know everything that's going on at school, and they may or may not tell us. But to make sure, watch how we're talking about ourselves and our bodies and how we look, and to also lead by example. Nothing's being forced, but here are the foods that I bring into the house, and here's how I'm taking care of myself. So if you're telling them to eat well while you're sucking down diet sodas on some weird like protein shake program because you're trying to lose weight really fast, that's not what kind of example is that setting. And maybe even starting to walk together, not to get into shape, but just because opening up those opportunities for some conversations. Because if you say, how was your day at school? They're probably not going to tell you. It comes out in the day-to-day life when you're in the car or going for a walk or something like that. So, but again, it starts with us, and how are we treating our own bodies, and are we respecting our bodies?
That thought literally hadn't crossed my mind. I just had this intuitive feeling like this is a bigger issue that we should make sure we at least mention today, because like you're getting at, we can't yet, those of us who would like to see systemic change at the educational level, which I sure as heck would, and hope to impact at least health education changes throughout my career and lifetime. But let's face it, today, you and I cannot go into the schools of the world and change the curriculum and how they talk to children. But like you're getting at, it starts with us, and we can be the example in our home environments where we have control, and we can show our families and our children how to be. And so even if they're going to school or other social situations and being shown something different, then we can, when they come home to us, then we can show them what's true and what's real.
I want to say a quick thank you to my mom, because she was such a great example of, she never was hard. She never was, and we're talking, I was born in 1966. So we're talking late 60s, early 70s. Women were drinking tab and smoking cigarettes to slim down. Ate real food in her house. She never once talked about needing to lose weight or anything like that. We ate real food. She set this really beautiful example where health was just what we did, but it wasn't a big, it was part of our lives. There was not a lot of talk. There was really never talk of looking a certain way or you have to be in shape. It was, so I'm really grateful because I just grew up with a comfortable image. I think it gave me a positive body image because I wasn't being told to fit this certain mold.
Exactly. And you weren't constantly being shown an image of something that you should be comparing yourself to. I love that you shared that. And that is so important. And I'm sure that influenced the kind of mother that you ultimately became. What a blessing and a gift that you got to have that important positive example.
Yeah. So I'm so, I've thought about that. Like I am truly
really blessed. Yeah.
I did not receive some of the messages that many other women were receiving at that time.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely grateful.
And I love that you have continued to pass that on and live by example inside of your family. And I'm so grateful, my friends. Our conversations always go so fast. I feel like we go into a time warp.
I don't know what happens.
We're not sure where we go. I think we go into like our special ER time warp, like frequency system, and we just stay connected. But Elizabeth, my friend, my colleague, I love you. Thank you for being here. Your wisdom, your guidance, your expertise, your stories are so invaluable. Thank you for coming and talking about a really important and brave topic. I think body confidence can come along with a lot of triggers for people. And I'm just really proud that you were able to come present it to us in this really healthy and realistic way, and to help us think about what confidence really is. You've certainly helped me make a frame shift around it today myself that I think is going to continue to integrate. And so
Great.
thank you. We can't wait to have you back.
Thank you. I
And
can't wait either. And we'll talk a million times between now and then. So
yes, we will. And I know our
yes.
guests have met you, but for anyone who's new to you, who hasn't caught our first episode, can you please share with all of our amazing guests how they can find you and stay connected with you?
Absolutely. I think the very best way to reach me is on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. And I know we can put a link in the show notes, but it's happy, healthy, _ Elizabeth. You can love your body and your life. And I'm also on Facebook as Elizabeth Resnick. I share some of my things there as well. So that's the best place to connect. And then we can start a conversation from there.
That sounds amazing. And I love you. We all love you so much. Thank you for sharing your energy, your time, your wisdom with us.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you all so much for tuning into this episode of The Bridge. If you are enjoying the show, then we would love for you to spread the good energy by sending us an honest, positive review. And in the meantime, sending you all off today with lots and lots of love and positive energy. And I hope you can feel it. Thank you so much for listening to The Bridge, a transformational health podcast with yours truly, Dr. Elizabeth Rogers. If you enjoyed the show today, it would mean so very much to me if you subscribe to the show and leave an honest, positive review. You can easily subscribe by going to the upper right-hand corner of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and press the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner. Also, be sure to sign up for my email list and join our private community to get even more content, value, and support on your health and well-being journey. You'll find these links in the show notes. Sending you so much positive and supportive energy today. I really hope you can feel it.